So every day we're working on Arcadecraft is a day we're not doing something else. And it's not the most successful game out there in terms of sales and audience. So it's really up to the audience. If the audience is there and they're happy with buying the game, we're happy to support it more. And until then, though, there are some small updates we had thought about doing that wouldn't take a lot of our time. It would be really fun to add to the game. But really, it's anything large scale is kind of off the table at the moment, because we've got another game, this massive game that we've been working on that's really visual and taking up the vast majority of our time at the moment.
All right, so for the sake of not being unoriginal, what, Matthew, do you think that we should name our arcade? I'm going to let you name what our arcade's going to be.
Cat House.
Cat House Arcade?
Yeah.
All right. Now, are there any words that are actually blanked out or censored when it comes to naming your arcade, or can you literally name it whatever you want?
There's supposed to be. I don't know how good that filter was. We actually had a thing on the Xbox version where just Sam, my partner, and I, we could pull a trigger and we could see the name of everyone's arcade, and it was actually shocking at how ugly some people named their arcades. You get a lot of racist stuff appearing and just really ugly things that our filter could just never catch because people are way too clever.
Yeah, whenever
they got around it. So
you caught that. You caught that. I spelled it wrong. Thank you for catching it. Oh, USC. Okay, I almost put cat hose.
That's a good name too.
All right, we'll go along with that, and we will start. Now, the interesting thing about Arcadecraft is that not only do you need to make money to be able to pay your rent, because you have to make sure that you're able to pay the rent for the building you're in, but you also have to be successful enough that within a couple of years, you can pay off your loan. And that's the problem that I was having when I played this before. So hopefully you can give me a little bit of tips and or tricks as to how to not go out of business.
Okay, let's start up and see what your first couple moves here are.
All right, so the first thing we got our machine. I got to buy a machine first. Now, the arcade is actually broken up into two different sections. You have the main floor, and then you have the back garage here, where you can house all the machines you currently aren't actually using. One of the things that I found that I kind of didn't really like about Arcadecraft is even though you can put machines back here that you aren't actually using, you can't house your broken machines back here because you actually get docked points for having a broken arcade machine in your arcade, anywhere. So I would have thought that if a machine broke before I could get enough money to fix it, I could put it back in storage, but you actually can't. And I am now realizing that time is actually going by while I am talking and not buying arcade machines. So let's make sure that we actually do things before I go out of business, before things actually start. Because every couple of seconds, a day will go by, and then after a month goes by, you have to pay your rent. And if you can't pay your rent, then you go out of business. But we do have a couple machines here available right off the bat. What do you think would be the best thing that I should buy first, Matthew?
Like I said, take a look at what's for sale and just pop into any of those. Go to the 41, for instance, at the top there. And if you look on the right-hand side, it says one-player vector, and then the third thing down is shooter. Mm-hmm. Check for the genre. That's the genre of the machine. So if you buy the shooter, then that's great because that means you've got a shooter machine set up in your arcade. Mm-hmm. And then what you want to do is the next machine you buy is you should try and find something that isn't a shooter.
So do any of the other things really affect what's going on, such as the control type, how much space? Well, I know how much space it takes up, because that depends upon how much space you have to move around, but its power cost or anything like that? Does that actually act in?
Yeah, that $25 power cost there, that's how much it costs for the whole month. So whether you put the machine out for a day or whether you have it out for the whole month, you immediately get charged that $25. As the years go on, that power cost goes up because the machines become more demanding. Sit-down cabinets are really bad for power consumption, as I think are pinball machines. I think the worst is the pop machine because it's a big refrigerator.
Now, that's something that I actually didn't notice beforehand that I'm actually charged for power every month along with my rent. So that's something that's very good to actually figure out. Is there any specific good machine to start with right off the bat, or does it not really matter?
It does matter. Some of them are more popular than the others. I think that the lunar module machine is the first one that effectively burns itself out in terms of popularity. Space Rocks actually has quite a good popularity. These are things you'd actually discover after you'd played the game a few times. And the Alien Landing Machine is actually almost as popular as Space Rocks, I think.
All right, so if you say that Space Rocks is a good one to go with, let's start off by buying Space Rocks here. And now it is in our storage, so we can go back there, grab that, and we will place it right up here by the door. There we go.
You see, when you place it, your expenses have gone up to $525 from $500.
I do notice that right now. Now, something else that's also kind of interesting about Arcadecraft is part of the popularity for your own arcade, which is what helps bring people in. The higher your popularity of your arcade, the more people come in, no matter how many machines you have. Like right now I got one machine, people are still showing up. I don't know why, but they are. But, and the other thing is, it's also something about the layout. If I go here to the escape menu, and then I go down to show arcade popularity, you get this chart that breaks down all the things that are currently factoring with your arcade, like new machines purchased, multiple genres, pricing, difficulty, machine layout, arcade customization, super game playing, so on and so forth. But the machine layout is something that I'm always found interesting, because when I was playing before, it would constantly change, but I could never exactly figure out what was really causing it to change. So could you tell us a little bit about each one of these things and what affects what goes on with them?
Sure. New machines, every machine, when you first drop it in there, immediately gets I can't remember what the star value is. I'm sorry, I guess a half star for a full 30 days after you've placed it. And then after that 30 days is up, it's no longer a new machine to your customers. It's just a machine. So anytime you place something brand new in there, you immediately get half star. Multiple genres. Right now you've got a shooter, so you've got, I think that's just under half a star. So you get half star popularity for that, for having a shooter there. That will stay there for as long as the machine is relevant to your customers. Pricing is, I think pricing is effectively a negative thing. Like if you... It's been a while, so excuse me if I don't know exactly what everything is, because there's so many systems involved. If you've got your pricing such that you have too many games that are too expensive, you begin getting subtractions. Difficulty, same sort of thing. If your games are way too difficult, overall, it begins subtracting. Machine layout is... We had to strike a balance between allowing people to put machines anywhere they wanted so they could actually customize their arcade and feel like it was theirs. But at the same time, we want to bonus people for doing things properly. So anytime a machine has its back exposed to effectively nothingness, it looks kind of ugly. So if you put your machines back to back or put the machines against walls or against a pillar or something like that, your machines actually go up in popularity, and it's a very small amount of popularity. But you actually, if you do it all properly, it actually adds up pretty quickly when you've got 30 machines.
Now, one of the problems that I came to with this, is because the game does clue you in on that a little bit, is when I got to some of the machines that actually didn't have backs, such as the tables, and I didn't really know what to do with those or what would factor into anything.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about those. The only thing you can do, and it makes sense, is that the coin slot has to be facing outwards for your employee to empty them. Because there's no real way you can place those things to make them the most aesthetically pleasing.
Do things like the vending machine also factor into this, that the vending machine needs to be placed against a wall?
I believe it does. The pop machine and the jukebox, I think they both have their backs ideally against the wall or against something else.
Okay. Well, we also have a couple things that will decrease your popularity as well, such as having broken machines, pricing, difficulty, and layout. And that brings up one of the things that Indie Gamer Chick just asked, and she asked that now that you're not dealing with Xbox avatars and violence is allowed, how come you can't brutally murder the people that beat on your machines? Which is actually very important, because if customers get mad at your machine and start beating it up, they can actually flat out break it.
Yeah, they can be pretty ruthless if you're not fast enough to get them. You know, it would be really fun to knock the avatars around a bit, or the characters around a bit more. And you know what? It's one of the things that people really, really like about the whole angry gamer mechanic, as we call it. Throwing people out was incredibly satisfying. I bet Indie Gamer Chick probably remembers when it used to the characters used to just disappear, and now they actually fall with a bit of a thud. You know, there's a lot of different kind of things we had wanted to put in, or had been suggested to put in, like gangs coming to your arcade and things like that, and fights breaking out in your arcade. They're great ideas, and we just never got around to them. And you know, there's only so much time in the day to make a game, and you know, having more interaction with your avatars was something we'd always kind of want, or your characters was something we always wanted to do, but it's just something we could never get around to.
So outside of...
If we do a sequel, we'll probably add some of those mechanics back in.
So outside of just buying arcade machines, there's also other things you can do to change your popularity, such as customizing your arcade. Now, if I go to the Customize Your Arcade feature, my keyboard controls are not working. Oh! Are we back? Oh. Is the game going to crash? I think the game might crash. Come on, come on. Okay.
It's solid.
All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. That was my bad. But we can actually go to the Customize Arcade. We can buy different things here to customize the arcade. So how do all of these things actually work within the game? Because some of these are very important to get, such as power. You're going to have to get more power eventually.
Yeah, the customizations, they're just there to you know, colorize your arcade however you kind of like it within the options we give you. But as you do it, if you do something like the pillars that don't cost very much to customize, you get a bit of a popularity bonus. Because people walk into your arcade and they go, hey, they painted those pillars. That's new to us. That makes us feel better coming here. And same with the floors and the walls and graphics and so on. You know, power is probably the most useful thing, because it allows you to have more than 10 machines on the floor at a time. They go up in steps from, I think, 20 and then up to 30. We actually had wanted it to go up higher. We wanted to go up to 40. We just never got around to it. Plus, the game is almost unmanageable at 30 anyways. So I can't imagine what having 40 machines would be like, trying to click and empty everything and manage it all.
That would be crazy. But now that this game's actually on Steam, have you thought about anything like Steam Workshop integration, allowing people to create their own things that then can be added to be bought as customizables for the arcades?
I've looked at it briefly. It's just, once again, it's one of those things, there's only so many hours in the day we're allowed to devote to it. So it's like, even like stuff like the Steam trading cards, we kind of wanted to do, and I looked at it very briefly, but I was getting pulled in 6 different directions. So it's all stuff we kind of looked at. We've kind of thought about it, but we just haven't acted on it yet. If people say this would be awesome,
you let me down. I love Steam trading cards. I saw something get in my inventory a little bit earlier, and I was hoping that it was a Steam trading card.
I'll have to take another look at that, because I bet it's pretty easy to do, given that every second game has them.
Yeah. Steam trading cards are actually a big thing. There are people out there who are very obsessed with trading cards, to the point that they will originally just buy games for the trading cards and then end up actually playing the game and liking the game as they're getting the cards. So they can be very beneficial when it comes to trying to help get people out there trying their game out.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's actually go back and buy some more machines. So we do have quite a bit of cash here. So we already bought a shooter, so I think we need to probably buy something like a sports machine. Now, I do know that the sports machines, from what I read on the Steam page, those are new to the PC version. Because originally you didn't have the sports machines to start off. Originally you only had the, I guess, the shooter machine as well as these two instead of some of the sports ones you had later on.
Yeah, I think it was shooter and action. I think might have been the first two genres, and that was it. And then because genres are actually so powerful in how the simulation runs, adding a sports game right up off the beginning was a massive leg up to a lot of people who were having trouble with the game.
Now it looks like this game, even though it does have some